The next thing I put on my list, on this list of 5 things that I did to radically change my life, is I learned to be okay with being completely alone. This one is very powerful, and if you can accomplish this, it becomes a superpower. So I've been very open on this podcast about my mental struggles and my negative relationship patterns. I was one of those people, one of those women, I guess you could say, but I'm sure there's men that do this too. But I feel like I've seen it more commonly with women. I was one of those women who was always in a relationship my whole life. I had a lot of relationships, and I never let myself fully heal in between the last relationship. I would just kind of jump into the next one really quickly, and I would ignore all the red flags in new relationships. And by the way, when I say red flags, I don't necessarily mean they're the bad guy. I mean red flags as in this is not compatible. Like, hey, this is a red flag that we're not a compatible couple. That's what I mean. But anyways, I would just sort of give in to sexual attraction, and I wouldn't really take the time to get to know a person and look for those signs and red flags that we were not a compatible match for each other. When I look back at this, I realize now that this was an addictive pattern that I was doing to avoid the pain of being alone, because within the pain of being alone, there's just so much there that I felt that being in a relationship would just solve for me, that I wouldn't have to deal with any of that stuff, that I could just, if I was in love and in the next relationship and having great sex and romance and cuddles or whatever, etc., that I would never have to face those things within my own heart, within myself. So what I personally did was, and I've been open about this on the podcast as well, I actually went to a 12-step program. Now, 12-step programs are traditionally known to help people with alcoholism or drug addiction, but now the 12-step program has branched out so much to so many other different things. There's like Overeaters Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous and etc. So the one I went to specifically is called SLAA, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. Just a quick disclaimer about that. I feel like when people hear that I was in Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, they automatically assume that I was just like out sleeping with a bunch of people, etc. No, I was not doing that. For me, it was specifically, I was always a very monogamous type of person, but it was really more the love addiction for me. Yes, of course, love comes with sex, so I would have sex with the people I was in love with, but for me, it was like I just explained that, you know, that repetitive cycle of just falling in love, really falling hard, and just kind of letting my life go and ignoring all my own problems. So I don't know why I had to disclaim that. I think it's because I don't want to get any weird DMs like from guys later listening to this. But anyways, okay, so to continue, that program, it was pretty fascinating. I have a sponsor, just like you have a sponsor in Alcoholics Anonymous, where they watch you and make sure you don't drink. I literally had a sponsor make sure I didn't date for a whole year. And there were times in the very beginning where I was going through actual withdrawal, like I would if I was an alcoholic, where I was like angry and resentful towards my sponsor and towards the program. I thought it was restrictive. And I had this like sense of urgency, like I'm 36 years old. There's no way I should just be sitting around waiting to deal with my problems. If I want to have kids, I got to get out there and do it now. Time's wasting. I had this sense of urgency, and she really guided me, and she said, just wait. She's like, you're not ready yet. She goes, give it some time. You'll be ready to start dating again soon. I promise you, like, it's going to be so much better if you wait it out. And she was speaking from her own personal experience, because when she did the program, she rushed into the dating process too fast and regretted it. So she was really watching my back when she guided me that. And then lo and behold, she was 100% correct. After just waiting through those difficult feelings for a few months, I'm a completely different person now. And I'm enjoying my solitude and my alone time in a way that I never thought, ever thought I possibly could. Right now, I'm in such a different mindset about dating, where I don't want to look for anybody. I just want to live my life and do the things that make me happy, to create music, to go out and network with other musicians. I used to be a stand-up comedian, and I actually want to start doing that again because that's something I miss in my life very much. And I feel like right now I have enough energy and time to be able to start doing that again. So I want to start doing that. And when I come across a person that feels like the right person for me, then I'll start assessing if I think that person would be a good fit for me. But in the meantime, I don't feel that sense of urgency anymore. I'm just really enjoying being alone. And the way I've been able to do that is through meditating daily, like I said before, and having gratitude for the things in my life and filling my life with things that bring me a lot of joy and a lot of peace. So now I feel like when I'm going to get into a relationship next, I'll be in such a healthier mindset where, for one, I'm not going to really need the person because I'll be okay with being alone. They're just going to be an asset to my life and not something that's going to fill a need. But also, I'm going to be in a state of mind where I'm not going to really fear loss as much. And I think going back to my previous relationships, I had such an intense fear of abandonment that was a huge weight on my relationships because, the people you're with, if you have fear of abandonment, they could feel it. Even if they love you, even if everything's going well in other areas, they can just feel that codependent attachment and that pressure you put on them to fill a certain void for them. And it does weigh heavily on those relationships. So now that I'm okay with being alone, I feel like that's going to release a lot of that fear of abandonment because I'm going to go in knowing that if it doesn't work out, I like being alone, So I just think learning how to be alone is such a superpower. And if you can find a way to do it, 12-step worked for me. You don't have to do 12-step, whatever, you can figure something out for yourself. I think if you could learn how to be alone and not rely on anybody for anything, it's life-changing. And I'm so grateful that I'm in this place in my life where I never thought I would be. Okay. Number 3. The third thing I did to radically change my life is